Hello everybody, my name is RedBlockss and welcome back to another episode of Redstone with Red, and it's the episode that I've been hyping up ever since I started my YouTube channel. I mean, quite frankly, on being honest with you, this is probably the video that I've wanted to make ever since I started my channel, so you can tell I'm pretty excited. And if you guys couldn't tell by the hints that I've been giving, yes, indeed, in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at slime blocks and honey blocks. Now, this is incredibly exciting because you see, I have been hinting this throughout the series, and I probably even mentioned this at this some point that slime blocks and honey blocks are an incredibly interesting topic because they pretty much modified some redstone contraptions for the rest of eternity. Like, they literally changed some of the redstone contraptions concepts. So there are a absolutely humongous topic, and yeah, I'm absolutely excited to get into this. So yeah, hopefully you guys are too. And this is again one of the episodes that I've been most hyped to make. So hopefully you guys are as well. So just before we get into this video, if you guys can remember, I mean, it's been a long while since we've been on Redstone with Red, but if you guys can remember, we were on the Piston Door saga. Now, the videos of the saga has been really delayed. You see, in the making of these videos, they were slightly delayed because you see, I had to do a lot of things in between these videos, and specifically for this one, I wanted to record, but there has been a lot of things just popping up that I needed to do, so I couldn't get on with the recording. But finally, after all of that, I'm back onto recording one of the best videos that I wanted to ever do. So yeah, I think this is a good return. So yeah, with all of that being said, oh sorry, one more thing to mention. So I was gonna get on that thing after I said Piston Door Saga, but I got distracted. So slime blocks and honey blocks, as you can obviously tell, they're on the glance of it, they're not connected to redstone, but obviously they are because it's in the series, and they are not just connected to piston doors. They are actually connected to a lot of redstone contraptions. So we're going to be going over the basic concept of slime blocks and honey blocks, but believe me, they are the most used in piston doors. So this is a good choice for me to put them in here, but it wouldn't be injustice of me if I put them anywhere else in the video. So seriously, so yeah, I just thought that I would mention that they're not 100% slime piston door material, but they are incredibly useful. Anyways, with all of that being said, there's going to be a timestamps down in the description for you to check out if you want to check out any specific part of these two lovely blocks, or if you want to check out any specific contraptions using them, or just in general knowledge for them. There are going to be timestamps down in the description for you to check out. And if you want to check out any other episodes of the series, there's also going to be a series playlist down there as well. But with all of that being said, let's get on with this video. Alright, so I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of an idea as to how the video is going to work because I forgot to do it right over there. So here you can see that I have myself a little bit of an obsidian platform setup. So here basically what I'm going to do is teach you guys how and why slime blocks and honey blocks are the best combination in the game. Now, to some of you, that might be debatable because you might think that other block combinations are better than this. But to be honest with you, I don't bother to care at this point in time because I'm making a video, and that's that. Slime and honey, they're the best. All right? Okay, so in this platform, basically what I'm going to do is explain to you how and why that is. So after that, I'm going to teach you guys, or basically give you guys some ideas as to how you can put these two blocks as a combination in your redstone contraption, which is going to be really useful and probably improve your redstone contraptions by a huge lot. So that might be useful to you. After that, basically, to sum up the video, what we're going to do is take a look at some redstone contraptions that include slime and honey blocks in their usage, and then I'm going to be giving you guys an example as to how they work, and so on and so forth, and that's going to sum up the video. So hopefully you guys are okay with it. Now let's get on with this episode. Let's just get started, shall we? So here we have a pretty simple situation. We have two sticky pistons attached to two sets of 6 slime blocks. Pretty simple situation, right? So let's say this was the situation before honey blocks were added, because honey blocks were added later than slime blocks, right? So in that situation, let's say we want to extend all of this stuff. Now obviously you're not going to have a random batch of 12 slime blocks that attached to some pistons. So to make it a little bit more practical, I'm going to attach a lot more grass blocks to it so that you guys can get a better picture. So just imagine this as a pop-out bridge, and yeah, just imagine that because I cannot be bothered to make a complete working pop-out bridge. So yeah, this is going to be a bridge, And when I extend one of these pistons or both of them, as you can see over here, all of these slime blocks were going to be extended by one block, meaning that all of these grass blocks are also going to be extended by one block, and that's going to be the bridge extending. Pretty simple stuff, and it should work, right? Pretty simple. So if I flip this lever, as you can see over here, even though it may seem really simple, this is not going to work. Now you see the reason why this doesn't work. Actually, there's a lot more reasons that you might think behind it. So the first reason, now I don't know if you guys remember this or not from the first video, but I did mention that slime blocks can only attach, sorry, I got that reversed. Slime blocks cannot only attach to obsidian, crying obsidian, and any type of terracotta. So that means that slime blocks can attach to pretty much every single thing apart from those 3 blocks. Now that is the situation that is happening over here. All of these slime blocks are sticking to each other. Now you might be wondering, for that weird cutout, I don't even know why I did that, but anyways, let's just get back into it. So as I was saying, you might be wondering that why is it a bad thing that slime blocks stick to each other? Now normally that is not a bad thing, but you see, you might want to do something absolutely on a massive scale, which is completely fine because obviously as humans we like to do big stuff, right? So let's say if you want to do something as big as like this, why wouldn't it work? Now the reason why it won't work is because I don't actually know if I mentioned this in the first video or not, but if I just didn't, keep this in mind that sticky pistons or regular pistons can only push up to a block limit of 12. So meaning that if you have more than or equal to 12 blocks in front of a piston, it cannot extend, which is the same thing happening over here. Now, as you can see, obviously, because I mentioned that slime blocks can stick to each other, so basically meaning that all of these blocks are combining into a block total of 12, which this piston and this piston can't do at all because obviously combining doesn't work because all of them are the same. Now here is the part where honey blocks come into play. So basically the summary of the first part was that we're using slime blocks, you cannot go big, and yeah, all of the stuff just connects all together. Now here is the part where honey blocks come in. Now you see I mentioned that slime blocks can only not attach to 3 blocks, crankstone, obsidian, and terracotta, but I actually missed out on one more block. That is the honey block. So meaning that slime blocks don't attach to honey blocks as well, and honey blocks also don't attach to slime blocks. Now the interesting fact that comes in is that honey blocks, like slime blocks, they actually stick to each and every block in the game, apart from obviously the 3 that I mentioned, obsidian, crying obsidian, and terracotta. So meaning that they are the identical blocks and they can stay next to each other because obviously they're not sticking to each other, making that in this situation both of these are actually different. So that differential actually makes a huge deal because previously all of these 12 blocks were like 12 blocks. Now in this situation all of them are just combining into a total of 6 per sticky piston. So as you can see over here, if I extend this, only this thing extends, and if I extend this one, only this one extends as well. So meaning that we get ourselves differentiated all of them, and we can also build something really, really big because keep in mind, like even though like they don't, what the flip happened there? Anyways, even though they don't stick to each other, other blocks can also stick to them. So meaning that if I had the previous setup that we did, as you can see over there, if I place in all the grass that I did, and if I extend all of them, as you can see over here, both of them extend, and if I just want to retract them, they also retract. Now this makes an absolutely humongous change in terms of redstone because there are some redstone contraptions that were limited by this not honey blocks existing, and they were not being able to made big. Now with the addition of honey blocks, they first of all were made a lot more easier because believe it or not, people are absolute mad lads, and some of the mad lads actually were able to make stuff really, really big. But to make something big with something small, yeah, it takes a lot more redstone. So even though they were being able to make something big, the redstone behind that was absolutely humongous. But currently, with the addition of honey blocks, yeah, things just got a lot more easier. So Hopefully you guys were able to understand every single thing that I mentioned. And to just give you guys a summary, slime blocks by themselves were like, they were okay, they were an absolute humongous changer in games, but they were just like together they couldn't let you allow to make something really really big, or like you couldn't put multiple stuff next to each other if you wanted to do that as well, because all of them will just stick to each other. With the addition of honey blocks, not only can you go big, you can put stuff next to each other as well. You could say that they don't stick to each other. Yeah, I should have made that joke a lot earlier, but you know what? I forget. So yeah, there you go. So hopefully you guys understood the importance and the revolution that honey blocks did, and to just put that into perspective, now let's just jump into how you can interpret all of this stuff into your own redstone contraptions. Let's get into it. So this section may seem a little bit weird as to like I'm gonna be showing you how the mechanics work in the contraptions, but not gonna be showing you the contraptions themselves. Now this is a little bit weird, but to first of all, to some of you who want to like literally build the redstone contraption with the slide bit that I said, there you go. That's your chance to build your redstone contraption. But most likely, the reason why I'm showing you this right now is so that it's a little bit more easier for you to understand the mechanics when we get into the redstone contraptions. So hopefully that clears that up. Now let's get on to some basic mechanics for slime and honey use redstone contraptions. So here we have ourselves a basic redstone like setup for what you would use in a regular piston door. We have ourselves a 2 block attached to 2 slime blocks, and now if we extend both of them, as you can see there, both of them extend, and if I do the same thing, both of them extend. Basically the same thing that would happen if I put like both 2 slime blocks over here as well. Now here's the thing where it all messes up. So you see, if I like would to have like both of them slime blocks, not a lever, like that, the first one that I retract would be the one to get all of the blocks, because as we already discussed, slime blocks attached to slime blocks and make sure they're different up. But if you don't do that, as you can see over here, as I already mentioned, one of them would steal all of the blocks, and that is the reason why we use honey blocks to differentiate it, so that we can get ourselves some nice same timing. Although this is not going to be same because yeah, I'm a human and I can't do both of them at the exact same time. So give me a little bit of a time. I'm going to set up another one. And another type of redstone contraption that got buffed up after the addition of honey blocks was flying machines. So flying machines also use slime blocks. In fact, flying machines were made by the addition of slime blocks, because using slime blocks you can make flying machines, as we already saw at a previous episode of the series. And here we have ourselves one of those flying machines. So here you can see that we have ourselves this flying machine and we have ourselves this flying machine. Now obviously this wouldn't work if this was not made out of honey, because as you can see over here, all of this is made of slime, and if this was all made out of slime as well, they would have stick together, and basically as we saw over here, which was here but now it's not, it would all stick to each other and these pistons would not move. Now I'm not saying that these flying machines are the most reliable on Bedrock edition, because they actually aren't. These are not 100% reliable on this edition. Java actually works though. That's really unfortunate, but I guess we're gonna deal with it. So by just using both of them, if you like power both of these flying machines at the same time, by the way, the mechanic that I'm using over here is powering hoppers. If you guys remember this from the observer video, observers can detect block updates, and the observers can also observe hoppers being powered, which is a incredibly weird update, but I guess we're going to be using it as well. So as you can see over here, as I already said, these are not reliable on Bedrock, because this one activated, took all of its parts away, and this one did too. Now I'm not saying that there's not like any reliable like two-way flying machines on Bedrock. They are, but they're just too big, and just to set an example, I didn't think we need to. So just keep in mind, if it's a reliable flying machine, it can be used in the slime and honey situation, where you can have multiple next to each other. Now with all of that being said, oh by the way, I'm going to be addressing this once more, so keep that in mind. So anyways, with all of that being said, now let's get on with the final part of today's video, some contraptions to give you guys an actual idea as to how slime and honey are used in a redstone contraption. So let's just jump right into it. So let's start up the contraptions by showing you the only one which I think is not going to be working. So here we have ourselves a combination of both of the redstone contraptions that I mentioned right over there. This is a piston door, which by the way I have not built up completely. I'm going to explain in a little bit. Which is made out of flying machines. This is an incredibly interesting idea. So this makes up for an hipster door. So a hipster door, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, is basically a redstone contraption which has all of its redstone underground, and basically the only thing above ground is going to be the door. Now, the principle of this thing is basically you have yourself a flying machine or a lot of flying machine attached to each other vertically, as you can see over here. And when you power it from the bottom, it flies up. And when you power it from, it comes down. And the whole door flies up and flies down, or rather slides up and slides down, because doors can't fly. So this door, like the idea seems completely fine, because obviously it is, and there's nothing quite wrong with it. But you see, as I've already mentioned, Bedrock Edition is not 100% perfect, and flying machines goes kind of with it. So obviously, as I've mentioned, there are redstone contraptions, or I should say flying machines, which are perfect. But you see, all of the flying machines that I've seen, which are in quotation perfect, like are only one way, or are so big that they cannot hold any other blocks. So meaning that if I power this thing, as you can see over here, it doesn't quite work, because even though the timings are completely perfect, the flying machines are pretty random. So meaning that if one of them powers like at a random time, it's gonna drag the other flying machine stuff along with it, because obviously they are stacked next to each other, and even though the slime and honey don't stick to each other, the other parts like the observer and the sticky piston do. So the basic thing about behind this thing is, even though it doesn't work, I'm just gonna give you guys the idea, because you just might want to build it for yourself. So if I power this thing, as you can see over here, all of this redstone goes into these 3 droppers. Now, the reason why I'm using droppers, not hoppers, is because I just really wanted to. Observers can also detect droppers, by the way, if I hadn't mentioned that. So that redstone goes into both of these droppers first, the first and the last one. The reason why, because I did that, is so that the first one and the last one can go up first, so meaning that the last one can go up on its own in a free time. So yeah, the logic is completely perfect, and I would have had a casting station and a sending back station up above, but since it doesn't work, I thought I would not be bothered with it. Anyways, that was the flying machine piston door. If you guys want to build anything like this, I just give you guys the idea. Now, usually I would have worked a lot, and I believe I did work a lot to make this thing work, but unfortunately I was not able to. So if any of you redstone wizards want to and have an idea as to how to do it, definitely let me know down in the comment section, because I would be incredibly interested to know. Anyways, so with all of that being said, let's get on with a redstone contraption that actually works. So here I have myself a redstone elevator. So this redstone elevator, as you might expect, is a lot of flying machines stacked on each other. Now, first of all, I have to get this credit out of the way. This flying machine was not designed by me. This was designed by someone called Ben the Human, I believe. Now, I would like to put his video down in the the description, but I would most likely forget. So if you guys want to check it out, make sure you search it up. So but this flying machine is 100% reliable. It is very, very nice. It goes up and down. The only thing that was stopping me from building this as a piston door is that it utilizes the 12 block push limit 100%. So meaning that if I stick any else block alongside this flying machine, it would just not work. So that is an incredible shame. I would have loved to use it, but the design is pretty perfect because it works 100% of the time. So the only thing that is going on here is because we have a lot of flying machines stacked on each other. Now the reason why I did that, because piston in the middle for each and every one. So I wanted to put four of them together, and by doing that, we get ourselves a nice floor for an elevator. So this can be used as an elevator. Now for the redstone, I'm gonna set up an extra one like over here, and I'm gonna be giving you guys a run through right over there. So give me a second, I'll set it up. All right, so this is one of the tile of these four flying machines. As I said, like one of them isn't as big as you might think, but all of them together, yeah, it's quite chunky. Anyway, so even though this doesn't contain like necessarily slime and honey stuff, I just thought that, you know what, since this is a flying machine and there are a few mechanics going on behind it, I might as well explain it, because you guys might get a few idea as to how to build one of your own, because yeah, this uses some good mechanics that you should think of while building a flying machine for yourself. So basically what happens is, if you want to activate this thing, you need to update this observer, but updating this piston works as well. But I mean, why would you go there if you can go here, right? So when you update this observer, that powers this slime block. Now believe it or not, slime block and honey block, even though they may seem like transparent, like you can like literally see through them, both of them are actually solid blocks in terms of redstone. I know this is absolutely like mind-boggling, but apparently the folks over at Mojang thought that, you know what, this seemed like something that should happen, so they did that. Anyways, so updating this observer powers this slime block, which powers this this piston. Now updating this piston will update this observer, because obviously it's facing into this piston, and if it moves, it detects a block update, which powers this sticky piston, which moves all of this slime block, including this observer, upwards by one block. Now when that happens, this observer detects a block update, okay, and that powers this slime block, powering this piston, that also updates this observer, which is facing into this piston, and that powers this sticky piston over here, moving all of them downwards by one block, and that does the whole thing, and it does its own cycle. And now again, this thing is really nice, because this thing like works like 100% of the time, which is incredibly nice, because no other, I don't think, like obviously there are, but I don't think I've seen any more like, you know, flying machines which work 100% of the time, which go two ways, being only two blocks wide. So great job, Ben. This is a really good design. Now I'm just gonna be showing you guys like how you can use this as an elevator. I mean, it's really simple. I just have like 4 hoppers going to these observers, because obviously observers detect this block update and they power after that. If you use this method, this is actually pretty nice. It doesn't really matter if this switch is turned on when you activate it. The only thing that matters is if these hoppers turn off and on at the same time. So if I just flip this lever, by the way, you can have that switched up above if you want to, and I just get sent up to over here, and I can walk off. I actually quite like the bumping thing of this elevator. It really adds a little bit of fun. And what if I want to go down, it starts jumping me, and I keep going down. I have tested it. This is survival friendly, so it's not going to kill you, so you can use it as that. By the way, I have the same exact thing set up above if you want to do that. But that's not going to do it for today's video. I'm pretty sure I caught all of you off guard. So I have like one more thing to show you, because obviously we can't just like leave off on a bad piston door node, because obviously this is a piston door saga. So to fix that, I have a place in mind that I want to go to show you guys a working piston door which has at least some honey block and slime block mechanics. So let's go over there. That's also a place that you guys have never seen before. So this might be a little bit interesting. Let's go. Interesting world. This is a place which I haven't visited in a really long time, because as you've probably seen from my Restaurant with Red videos, I record most of my restaurant videos in a separate world, just to give you guys a good idea as to what the heck is going on, because if I recorded in the middle of this mess, you probably wouldn't understand a single thing. But this world I actually love quite a lot, because this is just a place where I can come in, experiment with Redstone as much as I want, and do pretty much every single thing I want. But I think that got to my head, because this place is an absolute mess. But we're gonna ignore the fact and go on to the door that I wanted to show you guys, which involved the slime blocks and the honey blocks mechanic. Now, I think I have some signs over here to explain what is going on. So this is a 4x4 slime and honey piston door. And this is actually my first 4x4 piston door, so this is kind of special. I'm going to explain this one a little bit, but let's first of all discuss the mechanics on this one. So here we have ourselves a template as to how the door closes in and then opens up. So first things first, we want to extend all of these blocks in. To do that, I first of all connected all of these side blocks, meaning all of these four, up to using a slime block. Now, if I just connect this up to a sticky piston, and if I retract and extend that sticky piston, as you might expect, yes, these four blocks are going to be extended in and then retracted out, which is basically what we want. So we can remove both of these four and both of these four because we are going to do the same thing over here. Now for the middle two blocks, I actually came up with a creative solution. So to do that, basically what I did was, I don't know if you guys can remember this or not, but I showed this off in the piston extender video. I used a slime block piston extender. Now basically what that happens in that one is you basically extend like two blocks, but you actually using a slime block to do that, which makes it a little bit more easier. And yeah, you get the point. But here is where the honey blocks come into play, right? So if I have both of them connected up using slime blocks, obviously it wouldn't work because all of them would connect up, and that's where I use some honey blocks. So basically all of these four blocks are being connected using a honey block piston extender, and the top two are connected using a slime block piston extender, which removes all of these blocks. So meaning that we get ourselves an extension and a retraction. Now the reason why this is actually kind of random is because the reason I actually mentioned in my piston extender video also is because Mojang apparently made a bug as to like this thing like retracting. It doesn't work 100% of the time. I really don't know what's going on, but I guess that's what Mojang are up to. I wonder if I like okay, I know this is kind of unprofessional, but I just want to check this out because I want to see this thing working. All right, so anyways, that shouldn't change anything. Now, if I just flip this lever, which is the opening lever, as you can see over here, every single thing closes up. And if I flip this again, oh my goodness, I fixed it. I fixed it after months. Unless that was a fluke. Unless that was a fluke. Oh my goodness, I literally fixed that thing on camera. I mean, can I get some round of applause? Yeah, me. Thank you, thank you. Anyways, so that was another use of a slime block and honey block combo. I'm really sorry for that weird interval because this was driving me around crazy, but I'm really glad that I got it finished. But with all of that being said, that's gonna do it for today's episode of Restaurant with Red. I really hoped you guys understood the meaning and the hype around me talking about slime blocks and honey blocks. These two things are incredibly useful in the world of Redstone, and yeah, to understand both of them is a really, really important thing. So hopefully you guys understood how all of these things work and how awesome this combo is. If you guys learned something new and enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. And if you guys want to stick around for more of this series and more videos by me in general, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. And with all of that being said, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Sticky Gang forever. Goodbye.